Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, cats and kittens, dogs and fucking puppies, wrestling fans all over the world, and of course everyone else, just a casual listener, whoever is listening out to this show, being a patronage to my show. I thank you very much for that, sir, or miss, or ma'am, whatever, whoever you are. Welcome to the Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk. I am Eric Peralta, otherwise known as the Wrestling Enthusiast. Now, today, we're going to be talking about NXT Takeover in your house. Was it exclusive to your house? Was it extraordinary? We're about to find out in a little while. Also, is Kevin Dunn a fuckwit? That's what I wanted to know. And apparently, especially if he has especially talking to his talent while they're fucking recording. But in the meantime, let's take a look at some stories and take a look at some of the news here. Let's see how everything is going. Of course, where the hot story from last week was FTR, talking about being in contract with the AEW. And apparently it was a handshake agreement. It wasn't really known where Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, where they have actually not signed formal contracts with AEW. The tag team recently appeared on an episode of Jim Cornette's podcast, revealing they currently aren't signed to a long-term deal. During the interview, Cash Wheeler said that they are currently working in AEW on a handshake deal, mainly to finally work a match with the Young Bucks. It's a match that fans have talked about for years. Apparently, the team is still in negotiations with AEW. And he said, and Cash Wheeler, it's kind of hard to, without saying Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, it's just crazy to fucking, stir your brain around and get the names mixed up. He says, Cash Wheeler says, unquote, "We're negotiating still with AEW. We have a short-term almost handshake deal because we wanted to get this done finally because it's been talked about for so many years. So we're not under any long-term obligation to anybody. So that's a nice little caveat for you." So that's interesting to note about that. I think it's going to lead to a match at AEW All Out, which is going to take place in the first week of September. So, I think personally, I think it's going to be interesting. Other news, there was a list of top 25 Instagram photos for the week in the WWE universe, which is basically going on with the wrestlers of the WWE roster. I don't call them superstars. I mean, you can call them superstars if you want to. You're free to do that. But they're wrestlers. Let's be honest. I mean, I remember that one moment where Kurt Angle was in a pre-show and he said, "Well, they could find out who could be the greatest wrestler around. I mean, WWE superstar." Oh God, you got to change. Now they're forbidden for saying wrestling. Fuck you. Anyway, so this story popped up. Ricochet took to Twitter over the weekend, commenting on his aches and soreness that caused Shane Helms and Randy Orton to fucking reply. And Randy Orton's like, "What are you, 25? And he goes, "Closing in on 32. Bah. With an embarrassed emoji. Shane Helms says, "Remember when I said every bum hurts whether you feel it or not?" And he goes, I was simply walking. And then my hip just started really hurting. Am I getting old? So they basically were making fun of Ricochet. Now let me tell you this here. Ricochet is one of the most athletically gifted wrestlers that I have ever seen perform in a wrestling ring. Not just in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but also every other of the independent promotions that they got. Why the fuck would you want to insult someone that has better wrestling ability than you when you know that he could fucking probably kick your ass on the curve and spin you around like a fucking top, you fucking idiot? Come on, dude, get fucking real. I mean, look at your moniker, and I'm gonna explain. And this is another thing. I'm gonna transition here. This is a bit of a segue. Look at the way this fucking match between Randy Orton and Edge. Edge has not wrestled. I mean, if you're not counting the Royal Rumble appearance and the WrestleMania appearance, which was a boring last man standing match. If you look at it close in textures, you've noticed that Randy Orton versus Edge is dubbed supposedly as the greatest wrestling match ever. You know what? Want to know what my opinion about that is? It's anything but. Come on, let's be honest. When was the last time Edge ever fucking wrestled in a ring that much magnitude on it? Much less be in a fucking regular matchup with only developmental talent that's right there at ringside, and not getting an actual fucking match, not getting an actual crowd reaction to it. I mean, yeah, they're reacting, but I meant like in crowd sense, like with actual people, with actual fans there. You know, I mean, to me, this greatest wrestling match ever thing is clearly a bullshit term. Randy Orton. When was the last time he had a spectacular match? It's been like, what, several years? I'm not saying he's bad, but he's good. He's got size, I'll tell you that. He's got size, he's got the height. You know, he could do the RKO out of nowhere shit like fucking nothing. I mean, I like that match when he fought against Mustafa Ali. That was good, right? When Ali countered the RKO. See, that was good. He had a good match with him. So, here's the deal. In order for this to be a wrestling match and to be the greatest, much less the greatest wrestling match, you have to have a bit of old school tactics. What I mean by that is let them fight, let them wrestle, let them grapple down for a few minutes, and then let them try to take each other out. Let them fucking go into the ring, fight outside for a little bit. Fucking toss them into the goddamn announce table or something. Take them out and put them in the fucking put them through the pixie glass. Let them jump off top ropes. Let them have a referee bump. Let them do a tope suicida or something. Which is going to scare me if Edge does this shit because of his neck injuries. But, you know, these type of things are going to make a match spectacular. Is it really going to be the greatest wrestling match ever? I seriously doubt it. Miracles could happen. I'll grant you that. Miracles can definitely happen. But I don't think it's going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. It is so outlandish. I mean, seriously. So outlandish. I hope I'm wrong. Now, with that being said about the greatest wrestling match ever, there's one thing I would like to say about Backlash, which is going to happen next Sunday on the WWE Network or on pay-per-view, depending on what you got. My theory for this is, if I'm going to watch the greatest wrestling match, that's going to depend on the outcome of Asuka versus Nia Jax. And the reason why is because I don't like the way they're setting this shit up. Because the way I see it, it kind of gives me an irritable itch to think of the fathom of Nia Jax winning the Raw Women's Championship, especially injuring a fellow competitor. I mean, this has not happened. I explained this on my last episode, and I just can't fathom the fact that she would fucking win. If she would win, that's fucking wrong. Because basically, what that's telling me is that if you are besides NXT, I'm going to exclude NXT from this portion because it looks like they know what they're doing, at least for the most part. NXT knows what they're doing with their talent, with their wrestlers, with their matches, and with their booking. They know what they're doing, at least for the most part. Sometimes they fucking hit and miss from time to time. But all in all, that doesn't really happen. But here's the reason why. This fucking portion of the WWE, the NXT brand, is run by one guy, Triple H. Not fucking Vince. Vince McMahon runs Raw and SmackDown. And my 2 cents on this is that he fucks shit up. Have you ever read the newsletters last year that he kept rewriting the fucking show? He kept rewriting the format. I don't even like to say script anymore because script is shit. He rewrites the format at the very last fucking minute, like 20 or 30 fucking minutes before the show goes on the air, live in front of a crowd. You know, it's just stupid. First of all, number one, stupid. Number two, why the fuck would you change your fucking mind right away? Oh, he has a 1-inch gash. We're gonna do some rewrites. Make it a 1/2 inch. But we can't do a 1/2 inch. 30. He wants a 1 inch. Too bad. Change the format. We can't do that. Oh, okay. Then we're gonna rewrite the whole entire script. Tell the roster to get ready. Fucking old fart. Senile fucking clown. Yes, I could tell. I guess no. I'm gonna officially say Vince McMahon is a fucking clown. But prove me wrong. Prove me fucking wrong. Him and fucking Kevin Dunn. Him, that fuckwit Kevin Dunn. Speaking of fuckwits, there was a news article that got my attention. Speaking of fuckwits and Kevin Dunn, there was something that was regarding MVP earlier this week. I guess they were doing some tapings and I guess recording for Raw and SmackDown, I believe. And supposedly there was a rumor going around today that WWE started taping next week's pay-per-view event, Backlash. So there you go. It's not going to be live. It will be taped. But anyway, besides the point, the card looks like shit, in my opinion, in my eyes. But, you know, like I said, prove me wrong, and we'll see how that goes. So, WWE Backlash 2020 was taped earlier today before the airing of tonight's NXT Takeover in Your House. Additionally, we have a report by Wrestling Inc. The last set of WWE tapings that went down. Here's how it went. MVP Montel Vontanius Porter, he was stopped while filming a promo for the last set of television tapings. MVP called the people in the audience NXT superstars during the promo. At this point, WWE Executive Vice President of Television Production, Kevin Dunn, the fucking stupid moose face that he fucking is, the stupid degenerate cocksucker, he came onto the PA system, which I didn't even know they had at the Performance Center. I mean, it probably figures, but at the same time, what the fuck? Anyway, so Kevin Toothface fucking Dunn came onto the house PA system and says, "Stop, MVP, stop." MVP was informed to call them Performance Center recruits. You're not supposed to call them. I'm trying to do my best Kevin Dunn impression here. I'm MVP. You know something? And your promo, we have to do it all over again. Why do we have to do it over again? You called the audience NXT superstars. No, that's not what they're actually called. What they're actually called is Performance Center recruits. Performance Center recruits. They're not called NXT superstars, and they're not called NXT wrestlers. But whatever you do not call them wrestlers. Call them sports entertainers. Fucking toothpaste, fucknut, cocksucking jackass. Kevin, my breath has smelled like Vince McMahon's ass for 30 years, Dunn. And probably smells like nutsack and dick. So he corrected him. Fucking man-child. All right. So that, Kevin Dunn has always been, in my opinion, and I've heard his fucking name being thrown over for the past 10, 11 years. Since probably like the beginning of the PG era, when the era started to peak and the program started to really get kiddie. And I got nothing wrong with kids shows. I don't care about that. That's not my point. The point is the fact that these fucking shows got super kiddie. And it's just fucking dumb. It's fucking dumb. I don't know. It's... What the fuck, I mean, come on. It's so stupid. I mean, you have to overcorrect every fucking thing. See, but here's the fucking thing. When Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn realized when fucking they were getting their ass kicked by WCW, they just said, fuck it, might as well take out all the stops and just pull whatever the hell we could do, Let's just let's do the Attitude Era. Okay, well, let's do that. That was cleverly done. Add a bit of badassery. Then they put some other shit going on, so it was cool. And look what happened. The ratings skyrocketed. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin, you had The Rock, and you had people that had talent. It's what kept them alive and made them win the ratings war on Monday nights. But this case, they're losing ratings because a brand new promotion is giving them an alternative to the PG crap that they're forced to spoon feed the audience with, and they're not taking that shit. So what does that tell you? This guy, you figure if they're going to be doing what they did 20 years ago and then have an alternative to certain things, it doesn't have to be an Attitude Era 2.0. It could just be some athletic showcases. That's all it's going to be. It doesn't have to be about badassery. And then looking at the gimmicks, you look at this and then you wonder, oh man, well, you watch NXT and then you're like, damn, that's crazy. Look at what they're doing. And before you know it, they know how to put on a good damn show. But, of course, common sense, they put the same people over again and again, time after time. They don't put new people over. They don't put new wrestlers over. All they do is just fucking put the same people on, and the wrestling fans start getting tired of it. And like I said, I got nothing against Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a good brawler, and he's a good fighter, and he has a great story, great backstory. He's come from a line of wrestling. He's come from a line of wrestlers that his family, all in all, from all the way to his cousins and his uncles and, his father. So they all got history of lineage. But in this case, he has some kinks. And the kinks is the fact that this guy cannot wrestle. He could brawl, but he can't wrestle. That's the problem. Well, if that's the problem, why are you putting him over so much? And if the crowd is reacting negatively, why? Well, According to a chart that I read here, it was a couple of weeks back and a couple of years back, actually. It's been hidden down the longest. From the 18 to 49 demographic, a lot of women seem to like this guy. And they seem to be buying a lot of his shirts, a lot of his merchandise, a lot of his representing Roman Reigns, the big dog. And then, like I said, he's a good fucking brawler. But every time they put him in a main event match, it's a regular match. It's not. He's supposed to be in brawls, not wrestling matches. For fuck's sake. But that's Vince McMahon's call, and that's Kevin Dunn's call. And then you wonder why the hardcore wrestling fans can never get him over. So Kevin Dunn could suck a big fat fucking dick. That's my 2 cents on Kevin Dunn. Vince McMahon could go choke on one. As far as I'm concerned. I'm telling you, man, he needs to fucking step down. But he's so stubborn. He's a prick. Oh, and yeah, another thing. While I'm on the McMahon spectrum, boy, Linda McMahon got some shit, didn't she? Oh, yes. Because she was a political executive, where she was the administration of the Small Business Administration. Boy, does she look stupid. She posted a tweet because unless you're living under a rock, you know what's going on with the George Floyd protests that are happening all over the country. I will say all over the country, but I'm now seeing it spread worldwide now. It's gone from the United Kingdom, India, China, South Korea, Japan, Australia, Norway, Switzerland, and it has hit in Ireland as well. Lots of countries, even in South Africa. But that's not the point. We talked about this last week. We understanding it's a touchy situation that's going on in the whole world right now. So, this stupid broad, where of course everybody, a vast majority of people are against Trump's what he's doing to his fucking country, basically what doing to his own citizens, trying to put the military to put them against their own people. That's another reason why I think he's a piece of shit. He's a fucking moron. Now, so Linda McMahon was in the Small Business Administration under his wing. And even in the situation, the minute and sensitive situation that's going on right now in the planet, this degenerate shithead ass-kissing, obviously, decides to go on Twitter and because not to mention the fact that this economy sucks and we lost 8 million jobs last month. So here's the thing. In a minute detail, we gained 2.8 million jobs. So the unemployment rate slightly went down. Here's what happened. This dumb broad says and tweets, and I quote, "Great employment numbers this morning, real Donald Trump. We will continue to see the great American comeback." Oh, God. What a stupid response that is. So, I look at that, and everyone started to react. Some people were like, "Oh, really? Well, fuck you both. Fuck you and Donald Trump." That's what he said, pretty much. And then she just received numerous backlash responses back. As a matter of fact, if you go to Jim Cornette's Twitter page, he goes, and I'm quoting him, "With as many people as WWE has fired / furloughed during a global pandemic, I'm surprised it didn't drag those numbers your asshole orange friend was bragging about down. Linda, America will come back when Donald dipshit goes away." That's just one response. Here's another one. Tyler Bateman. He says, unquote, "Didn't you just real life fire a ton of folks and turn around and make a wild story around someone getting fired and rehired in that face of all that shit? Sick. Just checking." David Bixipan, I don't know who that is. I gotta take a look at him, but he responded back and he said, "Is not having a soul fun? Like, it sounds interesting, but I'm not sure it would actually be enjoyable. So that's why I'm asking." Fred Rinciani of TSC News goes, "So great your husband laid off a bunch of wrestlers and like half of your employees while still making an insane amount of money during a pandemic and recession, ass clown." Someone else responds back, "Linda McMahon just praised Trump on America's employment numbers after her company just fired a load of people during a pandemic." Someone responded back, "And just like that, I canceled my WWE subscription." There was a guy named Carlos, a Puerto Rican gentleman named Carlos Belafonte, who said, "Why does anyone who cares at all about social justice and equality continue to make this awful family rich by watching its horrendous product, especially considering that there is a ton of good pro wrestling out there?" And someone else just stopped by, I think his name is Seven, JR7 Gaming, I think that's his real name. He says, "I have just divested my shares in WWE stock based on this full-throated endorsement of fascism." That is a good quote to put it on, because that's exactly what I think of this fucking moron. He's a fucking fascist. He's a piece of shit. If I were ever to see him around in person, I will do anything I can to attack him and stomp his fucking neck. I'll fucking use his neck as an ashtray. Fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you too, Linda, for fucking Linda McMahon. And fuck you too, Vince. You fucking rich cocksucking piece of shit. Alright, now it's time to talk about the main event story, which is WWE NXT Takeover in your house. Very fast nostalgia of wrestling pay-per-view and wrestling on the WWE Network special event. And in my opinion, I thought this was great. I thought this show was very good, and I thought it was excellent. Not a single bad match on the show. It was a very, very good show. Seeing Todd Pettingill. Wow. Boy, he's aged. But, hey, it's great seeing him. It's like a flashback from the 90s, watching him back again. So, it's definitely fun. Watching the pre-game show was very interesting, but it's nothing that Takeover pre-game shows don't really mean much to me. It's just a bunch of jibber-jabber, but whatever, I don't care. And then looking at it like it's a prize fight feel type of shit that's going on, so it's kind of in that form of territory, but it's okay. But anyway, once the time started, it was time for the pay-per-view, and there was no pre-show match, so okay, whatever. So the very first match I look at is Mia Yim, Tegan Nox, and Shotzi Blackheart taking on Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. And first and foremost, I like Mia Yim's style. She's a great aggressive wrestler. She could fucking fight out there. Tegan Nox is quick. She can maneuver inside the ring. She's very good. And Shotzi Blackheart, she's a fucking daredevil of the team. So they take on Candice LeRae, the Poison Pixie, and Dakota Kai, the teammate from Kip. She has a rivalry with Tegan Nox for a while, especially in a street fight back in February. And Raquel Gonzalez. She's tall, and she could throw any woman around inside that ring. I like how this match started. It was very good. There was some smart maneuvers in the match, and I really enjoyed everything going on, because the way it started was the two team captains, if you want to call them captains, so to say, Candice LeRae versus Mia Yim. And it looked like Mia was ready to battle Candice, and then she immediately tags Raquel Gonzalez. And Raquel, just looking at how tall she is, she just flat out knocks everyone. Yeah, like she just flat out push over Mia Yim like nothing. And then tries to transition into a guillotine, and it looked really good. I kind of found this matchup to be very entertaining, and in the beginning parts, the way it was Gonzalez against Nox, and Nox was trying to kick her legs out. Nox tried to block a kick from Dakota Kai when she got tagged in, and Kai gets a roll up for a near fall. Nox connects with a running uppercut in the corner and then follows up with a cannonball, which was a good maneuver. I like the way Blackheart came in. I think she did a very good job of maintaining maneuverability in this matchup. I like this moment where Blackheart hits Shotzi. She hit an enziguri to create some distance, and then LeRae gets the tag in, and then she tried to block Shotzi from making another tag of her own, but then Shotzi just slides in between LeRae, and then she tagged in Mia Yim. And Mia Yim tried to get a soul food, and LeRae ended up countering and then into a suplex. Tegan Nox and Raquel Gonzalez got tags in. Gonzalez countered into Shining Wizard, and then into a powerbomb because she has fucking strength. I mean, she does. Mia Yim and Candice started brawling, and then once they started fighting, they went straight out into the front and into the entrance ramp. They all started fighting towards the back. In the meantime, since Gonzalez tagged in Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox leveled up Dakota, and then got her with a chokeslam, and then she followed up with a Shining Wizard, and it got a 3 count. So all in all, it was a very entertaining match to see, and it was a lot of fun. I give it about 7.5 out of 10, maybe. I don't know. Don't you think so? I think so. I think that deserves some credibility. So 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed the match. That was good. The next match was Finn Balor against Damian Priest, and for one, I thought to myself, this is probably going to go Finn Balor's way, but they're going to make this into a nice wrestling match, and it's going to be good. So yeah. Once they both went inside the ring and they started the match, Balor tried to strike first, and try to get a little jump with a drop kick, and that's how we started the match. As soon as they started fighting outside the ring, there was some good momentums going on. Like I like I like how Damian Priest dragged Balor into the ring and then gave him a leaping flatliner. I thought that was good. There was a moment where Balor goes back into the ring, and then he hits the ropes for a suicide dive, but then Priest ended up sliding back into the ring and countered with a lariat. Then Priest tried to go for a crucifix, like a razor's edge, and then he throws him into the fucking ring apron trying to, but then he ended up countering, and then he hits a double stomp to the chest. So it was almost like a coup de grace type of maneuver. A little bit towards the ending towards the match, there was a moment where it looked like Finn Balor was gonna give him Damian Priest, excuse me. There was a moment where it looked like Damian Priest was gonna give a crucifix Razor Ramon Razor's Edge like maneuver onto the steps, and that was gonna be painful. But then Finn Balor, and then he ended up in the drop kick, and then he leaps and then he fucking falls off the apron, and onto the ring steps. That looked painful. That looked fucking painful. But then again, there was a spot. It was a spot of a match. That's a hell of a way to take a bump, by the way. So it was great. It looked painful. These guys were in a fucking wrestling match. The match ended when Priest was knocked down. When he went back into the ring, Balor caught him with a coup de grace on the back of the neck, and then he fell into the mat, and then Balor hits another coup de grace, and it's a 3 count. So Finn Balor wins this match. I'm not surprised. Match was great. It was an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic. Next match, NXT North American Championship. The champion Keith Lee against Johnny Gargano. My prediction originally I thought Gargano was going to win this match because of all the storyline was developing between the Garganos and the Team Limitless type of shit that was been hanging around in NXT. But, I was proven wrong in this match. And this match showed up a lot better than I thought it would. So, I was enjoying myself. I like this part where Gargano, they're all fighting outside in the ring. Gargano does his cheap tactics, the heel type maneuvers. And there was like a moment where Gargano fish hooked Lee's mouth and then continued to assault on Lee's injured eye because, there was a moment where I guess he tried to fish hook him with the key. So, that was a painful move. But, it was showing some heel tactics. Then at one moment, Lee tried to catch Gargano, but this time Gargano countered the catch into a tornado DDT. So then Gargano heads back into the ring to break the referee's count because the referee was counting up to 10. And then when he heads back outside, he tries to go around because he wanted the referee to count him out. But once he went back out and was trying to go around the ring, Lee pounced Gargano over the barricade and through the plexiglass barrier. That was a nice spot. Pretty sick maneuver. It showcases a fight. So that was good. Also like a wrestling match too, but it was wonderfully done. Keith Lee retrieves Johnny Gargano. Then once he heads towards the ring, here comes Candice LeRae. She tries to intervene in the matchup. And once she tried to intervene, Mia Yim comes right behind her and ends up dealing with Candice LeRae, and they start fighting. So then Gargano tried to gouge in that little key spot. The referee was distracted, but Gargano hit a final beat, but only got a 2 count. Gargano lands a side kick to the head, and he kicks out again. Gargano stands on Lee's injured fingers, but then he powered out of that to a spirit bomb. And then Keith Lee hits a second spirit bomb, and then follows up with a big bang catastrophe. 1, 2, 3. This match was over, and Keith Lee retains. That was a good match. I really enjoyed it. It was very, very well executed. There was a nice little spot, inside around ringside, and they went through the plexiglass. Even like the people that were there, the developmental crew, that when they were there watching the matches, I liked how they reacted to this show. I liked how they reacted to this match because it was really, really well done. I give kudos to where credit's due. So yes, I think 8 out of 10 is a well-deserved score for both Keith Lee and Johnny Gargano. I think they did a wonderful job of they did a great job of maintaining a hell of a show. This show has gotten momentum. I really enjoy it. Next up, to my surprise, because I was kind of but then again later on it ended up being explained later. But it just kind of surprised me that I thought Tommaso Ciampa and Karrion Kross was going to be the next match, but it turned out to be the backlot brawl for the NXT Championship. That's Adam Cole against Velveteen Dream. Adam Cole's a champ for over a year. He's held that title that long. Velveteen Dream, this is his last chance. If Velveteen Dream were to lose, as long as Adam Cole is champion, he will never get another opportunity to battle for the NXT Championship ever again. As long as Adam Cole's champ. Cole comes up driving in a fucking big 4x4 monster truck, souped up and ready to roll and shit, and it has the name of the Undisputed Era. It had all the all the wrestlers. It had Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong's name on it on the side of the truck. That was a custom job. And then Velveteen Dream arrived in a yellow Lamborghini Aventador, I believe. That was a nice way to come in. And Dream was dressed as Negan from The Walking Dead. Ain't that some shit? But anyway, so this match begins. Cole hops into a car to flee. I'm like, really? So you didn't even have time to go in your truck, but whatever. Anyway, Dream grabs Lucille, which is the bat, and he started destroying the car. And then around this brawl happening, a fucking Uber car comes through and said, "Did anybody request an Uber?" And they both started fighting, because I think Adam Cole might have requested an Uber. But then these both start fighting in the Uber driver's car, and they fucking come out, and then the referee comes and explains to the driver, "This is a backlot brawl match. I think you should just go." And she leaves. That was something. Cole gets chased by Dream, and they go all around the backlot, and then Cole tries to get into one of those backlot buildings so he could hide like a little bitch. But it's heel tactics. I'm not saying they're actually a bitch, but I'm just saying that, well, if they're running around like bitches, that's heel tactics. So, Dream slammed Cole's face into a ring post, and then hits a double axe handle off the apron. Once they went back into the ring, Dream rolled Cole into a ring, and then goes for the cover. 1-2, but near fall. And Dream started heading up and dives towards Cole on the outside. And then he tries to grab a ladder and then puts him on the hood of a car. Once he started to climb that ladder, here comes Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish so they could distract him in the Undisputed Era. Cole uses distraction to climb the ladder with Dream, but then Dream knocks Cole off the ladder into the fucking windshield. And then obviously Adam Cole got a fucking laceration in his arm because he started bleeding. Here comes Roderick Strong, Adam and Bobby Fish. They all started attacking Velveteen. And then Strong tries to go and grab something from under the ring, and then it gets snatched up, and it was a chair. Snatched up by someone that was under the ring. And it turned out it was Dexter Lumis. So Lumis started fighting Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish. So he threw him into the trunk of a car, and then he fucking drives him away. Dream crawled into the ring as Cole tries to scrap himself off from the windshield. Of course, he was fucking hurt. So he heads up and goes for the Panama Sunrise. But then Cole ended up countering into a Dream Valley driver. And then Dream heads up top and then hits a Purple Rainmaker on the chairs because they brought out a whole fucking stack of chairs. Cole kicks out at 2. Once Dream says that Dream's over, Adam Cole low blows him to regain control. And Cole heads up top and hits Panama Sunrise onto the chairs for a 3 count. This match was a 7.5 out of 10. It was a brawl. Tried to use some wrestling tactics, which was good, but it was a brawl. I think this match could have been an 8 or an 8.5, but it could have been an 8, 8.5, but I rated it a 7.5. I gave it a half-point deduction. I'll tell you why. I mean, to me, the way Velveteen landed on those chairs was kind of sort of not climatic enough. Anticlimactic, somewhat. And then a low blow. Then again, if anybody gets nut shot, I guess it's a weak point. But anyway. But that's just my opinion on it, so. But yeah, 7.5. I mean, I just think that it should have been a stronger finish than this. But okay, I ain't complaining. It was good. Next match, to my surprise, Tommaso Ciampa against Karrion Kross, obviously with Scarlett. And, of course, Scarlett looking lovely and also Karrion looking dangerous. And Tommaso Ciampa comes out. So, yeah, no, it's really... I think this match was to make Karrion Kross look good. And the way to attack, the way to jump up in the rankings, you have to beat a guy like Tommaso Ciampa. Karrion Kross carried this match. He looked very good. And, he was getting up he was absorbing some clotheslines and then take out with some boots to the face, but didn't really affect him that much to a point where it slowed him down. Once that moment when Kross hit the belly to belly, and he wrenched on Ciampa's surgically repaired neck, slamming him to the apron. That was painful. Oof. And Kross kind of hit a Northern Lights suplex, and that rolled directly into a short clothesline. Ciampa tried to fight back, though. He tried to fight back, and he hit him with an enziguri. Ciampa hits a Willow's Bell, but Kross kicks out at it too. So he kicked out, and then Ciampa goes for the fairy tale ending. Sorry, the fairy tale ending. But Kross countered into some sort of modified looking F5. Then he locked into the cross jacket, in which Tommaso Ciampa ended up passing out. I enjoyed it. I think it was like a 7 out of 10. It was like a pay-per-view match where you're gonna have a job, and someone's gonna job. But I think they could have had more time. So 7 out of 10. This could have been a 7.5 out of 10. But then again, I ain't really complaining. I'm enjoying everything that they have put out so far right here. So this pay-per-view was very good. So the main event is the triple threat NXT Women's Championship match. Charlotte Flair versus the challengers Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. Of course, Flair, the way this match started, once the introductions were introduced, I had a slight little reaction from the developmental crew. Once the bell rings, Charlotte Flair rolls out from the ring and says, let Rhea and Io start the matchup. So they started fighting. And Flair slid back in the ring, tried to cheap shot Ripley from behind. Ripley and Shirai double teamed Flair. And they stomped her in the back of the corner. And then Rhea pounded on Flair's back. But then Flair started fighting back with a forearm shot. Just a couple of basic maneuvers. And then Flair head to the apron. But Ripley pulled her from the floor. So, obviously, there was some shit going on. These ladies, they sure made a wrestling match out of a wrestling match, especially in a triple threat. There was some good wrestling here. I like when Flair rolled Shirai back into the ring, and then she went to a belly to back suplex, and then Shirai flipped over and then landed on her feet. Then Flair tried to get a Boston Crab, but Shirai rolled to her back and then kicked Flair right in the fucking face. And then she broke free. Rhea, she charged back into the ring and then started leveling Charlotte with a big boot to the face. And then Rhea ended up getting a basement drop kick to Charlotte once again. Shirai started following back up with a Tiger Fake kick. One of those buzzsaw type maneuvers. So, you know, it's a really devastating maneuver if you think about it. They study that shit a lot with that Japanese strong style. So, very ballsy stuff. Anyway, midway towards the match, the way they started, it is triple threat rules. Charlotte tried to go to a natural selection and try to give it to Rhea. Rhea ended up blocking it, and Io connected with a springboard drop kick, which was nicely done. It was followed up with double knees in the corner, and then Charlotte hits Io with a natural selection, but she gets a near fall out of the whole thing. Then she tried to lock a figure 8 into Io, but then Rhea pulled Charlotte out of the ring, and then Io came back and did a dive out in the ring onto Rhea Ripley, but Charlotte levels Io with a clothesline from behind, and Charlotte tossed Io near the ring entrance and into the set. The set where they had the little window set, and they actually fucked up the fucking video screen from there. Charlotte, Flair, and Rhea Ripley, they continued to fight. They started brawling onto near the entrance ramp. Now, while that shit was happening, Io Shirai climbed on top of the fucking set, and she did a diving crossbody off the top of the fucking set. That was like a 2-story drop. And a crossbody to gold boot. So, yeah, Io did some fucking... That was an incredible spot right there. And then she got Charlotte and she threw her back into the ring. Rhea made her lose her balance, but then Ripley started heading on top. And then Ripley... A little bit towards, if you go a little bit towards the match, fucking Charlotte tries to hits Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai with a fucking kendo stick. After all, it was triple threat, so there's no fucking disqualification in this type of matchup. So anything goes, pretty much. Once Charlotte started hitting Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley with a fucking kendo stick, Charlotte Flair locked in a figure 8 on Rhea Ripley, and for sure thought it was going to fucking finish it off. But then Io Shirai out of nowhere heads up to the top of the turnbuckle and it hits a moonsault onto Ripley. Shirai ended up covering, and I don't believe this shit. Io Shirai is the women's NXT champion. What a spectacular match, and it was. It was definitely one of the best matches that the women have done in the NXT roster. I think it was incredible result, and everybody started reacting because the reaction was a surprise. Because a lot of people either thought, well, Charlotte was probably going to retain the title, which I was against. But then again, I'm not hating, because I kind of like that Charlotte plays a monstrous heel in the women's division, Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. Rhea Ripley, she's a good champion. She's had a 3-month title run with hers, or should I say 4 months. But I liked her title run too. But at the same time, you know, she's going to have a lot more opportunities come her way. This really surprised me. I know there's been reports in the past where Io Shirai's kind of been not too pleased with where she was, especially since she's one of the most dominant, or one of the most athletically gifted professional wrestlers in the world right now. Top 20 at least. I mean, come on, if you list a top 20, top 25 list of women wrestlers that are on top of their game right now, Io Shirai is easily top 5. No doubt. And I hate to rank these ladies because they all do a good job. Rhea Ripley has some good aggression. Charlotte Flair has some great wrestling skills. Io Shirai is almost lucha-like. She is a daredevil style. It's fucking amazing. And I personally think that Io Shirai deserved that title, and it was well worth watching, and this made the show worthwhile to check out. So 9 out of 10 for that match. 9 out of 10. Spectacular. It wasn't a masterpiece. If it was a masterpiece, it'd be 10 out of 10. But only one match I ever reviewed that broke the scale, but that's the Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole 2 out of 3 falls from NXT Takeover in New York from last year. But hey, it's very difficult to attain that type of achievement. But see, with these women, they all did something spectacular in this matchup. Wrestling ability-wise, spot-wise, and the climactics in the match, it just added to the whole thing. So it was just wonderfully done. I give all three ladies the benefit of the doubt. 9 out of 10. So what did I think of the whole show? I think of it as an 8.5. I'll tell you why. If you look at the 3-on-3 women's match, the Mia Yim, Tegan Nox, Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez match, this was actually an add-on, but it was a welcome add-on. And the match lasted around 10 minutes. I thought it was really good. And, I think the right team won. So it was very satisfactory beyond any means. So, yeah, it was a 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't perfect, but it was great. It was great. I think all 6 women, they deserved their spot, and especially since Shotzi Blackheart's very first takeover, and Raquel Gonzalez's as well. So, well, actually, she appeared back in February, but she was just at ringside and appeared out of nowhere. But in this case, fantastic. So, 7.5 for them. Finn Balor versus Damian Priest was an 8 out of 10. I loved how these two battled each other out. Showed some fatigue, showed some great selling, great maneuvers. That bump that Damian Priest took, that slammed him off the apron and his back hitting the edge of the ring steps, that was painful. And then it took 2 coups de grace to take him out. So, wonderfully done matchup. It was excellent. 8 out of 10. The North American Championship between Keith Lee and Johnny Gargano. The result kind of surprised me a bit because I thought Johnny Gargano was going to win it. But Keith Lee won, and that was excellent, and it was a great matchup. I love that spot where he got pounced onto the pixie glass. So that was a nice little bump there to take. That was wonderfully done. And then it took 2, and then there was going to be teasing some interference with Candice LeRae, but then Mia Yim ended up chasing her out of town. And then there was some heel maneuvers and heel tactics going on through Gargano, like raking Keith Lee's eye and with the key. And I thought that was going to solidify the result that I predicted, but no, he ended up retaining. So 8 out of 10 for that one. The Backlot Brawl match, I gave that one a 7.5 out of 10. And Adam Cole retained his title. And it was unique. I liked the presentation of it. It was pretty fun. It was fun to watch. I thought it was nice. I liked how Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream, I like how they entered the ring. They entered the ring in the Backlot Brawl. So, it's very good, very good. I kind of thought the finish was rather weak, but at the same time, I'm not complaining too much. So this probably proves to me that Velveteen Dream is going to go into the main roster. I thought Io Shirai was going to go with him, but apparently not. So, all right, well, I'll take that. I prefer they stay in NXT. They put some kick-ass matches. So 7.5 for Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream. Tommaso Ciampa and Karrion Kross, relatively short match. It was around 7 minutes, but it wasn't bad. It was good. It just showed that Karrion Kross is a fucking beast, and Tommaso Ciampa looked rather weak, even though he is also a beast. But Karrion Kross was just a flat-out monster. So 7 out of 10, even though Tommaso jobbed this one, but, I'm not really complaining too much. And then their main event was a triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship between Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai. And I thought enjoyed that one as well. Everything about it from the first 2 or 3 minutes, and afterwards, it just became a spectacular showdown. It was wonderful. It was a great result. I mean, what a result it was. What a match. I mean, I like that Io Shirai just taking that fucking bump right there, diving that crossbody on top of that ring entrance, the rooftop of the house and the ring entrance. Man, that was crazy. Well, that was a 9 out of 10, so the whole show gets an 8.5. Lots of 8s and 7.5s, but you also put a 7 and a 9. So if you look at it in perspective, the match that averaged 8s and then 7.5s, they kind of stabilized it. But that 9 match between the NXT Women's Championship triple threat, you had a recipe for a great show. So I strongly recommend this one. Thumbs up. 8.5 out of 10 for the whole entire event, and that's your final verdict. Now, I'm going to close the program with, there was a bright spot for what I saw. Usually I always end an episode on a rant, but this time, I'm going to get somewhat political, but at the same time, I'm also going to get, an endorsement. I'm going to give an endorsement out to one of the best and most talented wrestlers out there, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because, in case you don't know already, it was a couple of days back. There was a response on Facebook, or I believe it was Twitter. I'm not too sure. It looked like a Facebook or Instagram post. There's this woman who texted something really stupid, and it was regarding the Confederate flag. And he denounced the flag. And the woman that was corrected by Stone Cold Steve Austin, it went something like this. This woman's name is April Vickery. I mean, I don't really want to distinct names, but I'm not going to call her out. But I am going to claim that she's one example of the stupidity that happens in the Southeast states. What I mean by Southeast, I mean Mississippi, Georgia, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, and around that region. South Carolina is also one of them. So whatever. I mean, I'm not saying all people from these states are bad people, but I'm just saying that these people need to stop these old fucking rhetorics of Confederacy and white supremacy and all this bullshit, because it's fucking disgusting. So anyway, this was one example of what happened, of how they think that the Confederate flag, which I think is a stupid looking flag, it's a bunch of rebel bullshit. This is her response for it. She said, and quote, For us, it wasn't a sign of hatred or hate or ignorance. It's a sign of Southern pride. A pride in who you are and where you come from. The people who come from the people you know stood for heritage, lineage, family, and pride, never stood for hate ever. Just by hearing and reading that shit out loud, to me, it tasted like shit from my mouth. Because you know it's bullshit. It is about hate. So when she written that and posted that online, Stone Cold Steve Austin read it, and he responded to it. Here's what he said. I'm not going to do the Stone Cold... First of all, I'm not going to do the Stone Cold voice because I think this is a serious issue. Stone Cold says, that's nice and all, but if I recall, it don't matter what it means to you, because to African Americans everywhere, it's a symbol of oppression, hatred, and inequality. So your little heritage, not hate, quote unquote, story don't mean shit, because your stupid little heritage was built on the backs of slaves, and identifying what that kind of sort of definitely makes you trash in the Texas rattlesnake's eyes. So you can continue to spew your bullshit, but just know that none of us care, you dumb racist sumbitch, and that's the bottom line. Maybe I'll just read that with Stone Cold's voice. Man, you're a piece of trash in Texas rattlesnake's eyes, so you can continue to spill your bullshit, but just know that none of us care, you dumb racist sumbitch, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. All right. Now I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, so he has a point right there. Now if we back to seriousness, I was trying to joke around, but if we're all being serious about this shit, let's be real. He's the most honest dude out there. He's righteous because he knows what's right, and he's intelligent to know what's right and what's wrong. You don't have to be, because just because you're from the South doesn't mean you have to be Republican. You could be a Democrat. You could be a neutral individual. You could be a Green Party. It doesn't matter. And not all Southern people are bad. See, that just goes to show you, because there's some people out there that are educated. If you look at it this way, I remember a story that someone said one time. Look at the state of Kentucky. In the state of Kentucky, they have two major universities that are known for being one of the top 100 universities in this country. That is the University of Kentucky in Lexington, and that is the University of Kentucky, Louisville. And if for you sports fans, and if you watch college sports or anything like that, University of Kentucky, Lexington is home of the Kentucky Wildcats, and Kentucky Louisville University is home of the Louisville Cardinals. But that's for you college sports fans. If you're a wrestling fan, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, you can just always look it up. But that's what the good thing about Google. But that's back to my point. These two colleges are very high up in the rankings in the country. So you get what I'm saying when these people are educated or being educated. So they know what's up. They know what they're doing. And if you look at the towns where they are hosted, by the college campuses and all that shit, which they're famous for, you ever notice they vote Democrat? According to statistics and according to ranges of voters' conservatism and liberalism, by the comparisons, you look at them and you realize it's, if you compare Lexington and Louisville, Kentucky, and then compare the rest of Kentucky, you see two blue dots. Which tells me one thing, that these two areas are the most educated in the state of Kentucky, and the rest is trailer trash. I'm from Paducah, Kentucky. And like, again, like I said, not everyone there is bad. But I'm just saying that, what the fuck? Use common sense. Why is common sense so uncommon? That's my beef. That's my beef with the southern states. It's like, come on, dude. It's 2020. Confederacy has been dead since the 1800s. Why the fuck bullshit? And another thing. I've done even more research, and this has nothing to do with race. But what I've noticed is these people are going to be the minority soon. Give it about 20 years. In 2040, they're going to be set to be the minority of this country, and the rest of the people are going to be common sense. Think of it that way. That's why they're so scared. That's why they're afraid to advance. That's why they'd rather stand up for these stupid, hypocrite, Republican cocksuckers. They don't give a fuck about them. Why the fuck have that mindset? It just doesn't make any sense. It's like, why? It's like, oh, I'm going to vote for these corruption guys because I don't care. As long as I take a job, I don't care. As long as I do it, I'm going to get privilege anyway. Fucking moron. Goddamn Nimrods. Anyway, just something to think about. The type of bullshit that happens with these fucking people that are voting the stupid party, the ones that's obviously going to fuck them over, and they keep voting for them no matter what. It's blind fellowship. Like sheep. It's just a brain-dead way of thinking. And this goes back to what I say. Because, look, and yes, I criticize Mississippi and Alabama and Arkansas and all that shit. Yes, I do criticize them because a vast majority of the people that live there are the ones that are fucking up this country. The ones that have common sense, at least I agree with you and they agree with me. So there you go. If you have common sense and you say to yourself, you know what, he's actually right because we aren't thinking this over. So if anything at all, let's just look at the bigger picture. Who's going to benefit me the most? And we all know and a vast majority of people know Republicans are not going to, unless you're a fucking crooked goddamn business owner that owns a corporation. Trust me, there's a lot of them. So, and I know there's some of them out there. Fuck them. But like I said, it's so stupid to think that this is an acceptable way of creating a country. When everybody in the world, in the other 200 plus countries that are out in the world right now, think that we're a bunch of fucking clowns. And we can't tell the difference between an apple and a pear. Or a fucking orange and a lemon and a lime. Like, come on, dude. Like, if you can't tell the difference and you know which one's your favorite, why the fuck would you go against your own will and vote against someone that's gonna destroy you? Not to mention that he's a fucking rich billionaire and a con man and a fraud and a piece of shit human being. And he's officially a fucking dictator, so he could kiss my. And if you don't think, and I'll tell you this, if you come from these regions, and you fucking admit to yourself, okay, you know what, you're right. These people don't know what they're thinking, so I apologize on their behalf. Then that's fine. But if you believe in that type of shit, where the most crooked politicians and the most full of shit people are in the world that are gonna come and be the leaders of the free world and start being in charge, in that case, you can kiss my big fat bumpy ass, you fucking mental midget. Well, on that note, I'm calling it a day. Next week, we should have the WWE Backlash 2020 review. Let's see if the greatest wrestling match ever is indeed the greatest wrestling match ever. I have my doubts. But until then, this is Eric Peralta, a.k.a. the Wrestling Enthusiast, reminding you to wash your ass. See you guys next week. See you then.